techniques, which is separating funnel. The next one is chromatography. Chromatography, it is a separation of components of mixture based on different affinity for the solvents. When we talk about affinity, affinity means likeness, desire, because a substance and solution, they have different likeness for each other. If a particular substance has affinity for another solution, they will come together. But if another substance does not have affinity for another solution, they will be separated. So if you have a particular solution, let's say the solution is ethanol, and you have A, B. If A is sodium chloride, for example, and B, if B is sodium chloride and A is ethanoic acid, because of the fact that ethanoic acid is also an organic compound, ethanol is partially an organic compound. Both of them have affinity for each other. But this is an inorganic compound. The affinity of this for this is insignificant. So definitely this draws towards this more than this, because of the fact that this one and this one are compatible. So this process, where you have the separation based on affinity, is called chromatography. Example is in the separation of ink into its components. Another substance to be talked about here is impure substance. When we say substance is impure, what are we talking about? It is one that has impurities to a significant extent. However, the impurities can be removed by using the appropriate separation techniques. Pure substance. What are pure substance? It is one that is free of impurities. Questions based on this topic. 1. The separation of a mixture of calcium triisocarbonate 4 and sodium triisocarbonate 4 is most carried out by using difference in their A. Solubility, B. Melting point, C. Boiling point, D. Physical state. Question number 2. A mixture of oil and water can be easily separated by A. Sublimation, B. Evaporation, C. Using separating funnel, D. Fractional crystallization. Question number 3. Why is sodium chloride solution regarded as a mixture? Answer to the question. Question number 1. You have calcium triisocarbonate 4, that is CaCO3, and sodium carbonate 4, triisocarbonate 4, that's Na2CO3. This, we all know that all carbonates of sodium are soluble in water because of the fact that sodium is a group 1 element. Calcium are sparingly soluble or insoluble. So you separate these two compounds in their solution based on difference in solubility. This one is more soluble than this. So when you have them in a solution, this one will come out as precipitate because it is insoluble. So you can separate these two mixtures on the basis of what? Their solubility. So the answer to question 1 is solubility. Question 2, a mixture of oil and water can be easily separated by, when you say oil and water, remember separating funnel. It separates two mixtures that are what? Immiscible. Because of the fact that oil is not miscible with water, this oil is less dense than water, so we'll see it on the surface of the water. So that means separating funnel is the best separative technique that can be used to separate oil from water. Therefore, the answer to question 2 is using separating funnel. Question 3. Question 3, the answer to question 3 is simply because sodium chloride has been dissolved in water or some other liquids, which can no longer be represented by a chemical formula. Sodium chloride being dissolved in water makes it not to be able to represent it by a chemical formula. And anything that cannot be represented by a chemical formula is not a compound. Therefore, it is a mixture. Acid, bases, and salts. What is an acid? What are acids? They are substances that give hydrogen ion as the only positive ion when dissolved in water. Any substance that gives this hydrogen ion as the only positive ion when dissolved in water is recognized as an acid. Examples of acids: you have hydrochloric acid, you have triazonitrate 5 acid, etc. Types of acid. There are 2 types of acids, namely strong acids and weak acids. What are strong acids? Strong acids are acids that ionize completely in water. When they say something ionized, what is the meaning? That's strongly dissolved. When something completely dissolved in water, that substance is said to ionize. So a strong acid ionizes completely in water. Examples of strong acid: we have hydrochloric acid, triazonitrate 5 acid, tetraoxosulfate 6 acid. What are weak acids? These are acids that ionize partially in water. That means the way they dissolve in water is partial, is not completely. Examples are ethanoic acid, triazosulfate 4 acid, tetraoxophosphate 5 acids. These are examples of weak acids. Properties of acids. There are 2 properties of acid. We have the physical properties and we have the chemical properties. What are the physical properties of acid? 1, it has a sour taste. 2, it turns blue litmus red. 3, the concentrated form of acid is corrosive. When I say something is corrosive, it means it's strongly attacking. Whatever it comes in contact with, it tears it off. It attacks it strongly. That is why we say it is corrosive. That is why when you place a concentrated acid on your hand, it begins to burn because of the fact that it is corrosive. Chemical properties of acids. Number 1, it reacts with a base to form salt and water. That is the first property of an acid. Pick any acid, hydrochloric acid, react it with any base. Sodium hydroxide is a base. When it reacts, here it will form salt. Where is the salt coming from? Sodium combined with chlorine to give you the salt. Sodium chloride, that is the salt. Then hydrogen combined with OH to give you water. That is. So acid reacts with base to form salt and water. That is the first one. Then the second one, it reacts with metals to liberate hydrogen gas. Pick any metal, let's say magnesium, plus acid HCl to give you magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas. So acid reacts with metals to liberate hydrogen gas. That is the second property. Then the third property, it reacts with thiazocarbonate 4 to liberate carbon 4 oxide. Pick any thiazocarbonate 4. Let's say sodium thiazocarbonate 4 plus any acid HCl. When they react, you have sodium chloride, 2 of it, plus H2O, that's water, then plus CO2. So acid reacts with thiazocarbonate 4 to liberate carbon 4 oxide. So these are the 3 properties of an acid. Uses of acids. What are the uses of acids? They are needed in industries to make chemicals. Acids are needed in industries to make chemicals.